You're still watching JoyNews Desk. The Auditor General uncovered a startling 5.4 billion cedi said to be debts, which government has to pay, but well, government has no basis at all, or they've been paid already. The debts owed to contractors and other service providers by officials at the various ministries were said to have been incurred between 2014 to 2017. Now, Daniel Domelovo has since disallowed such payments and has recommended prosecutions of the officials who presided over such payments. The discovery and recommendations follow a 2016 audit of the finances of various ministries, departments and agencies. We cross over now to the Alisa Hotel, where the Auditor General is briefing the media.
Members of the board, Mr. Auditor General and the management team present, members of the press, we have listened to the brilliant presentations made by the Auditor General and Mr. George Wenfo, DAG of Audit Service. We now want to invite questions, particularly from the press men present, on any issues on which you might want more light to be thrown on, or clarifications. I could see a hand behind. Please, may you move to the aid as we give you a mic to ask your question, please. Please, you may have this question. Please, you kindly introduce yourself, your name, and which press house you are representing before you ask a question.
My name is Mr. I write for the Finder newspaper, and I must say that I want to congratulate the management and staff of the service for this great work. I think that it's the way to go in this country. Before I ask my question, I want to make one observation. I know the law does not permit that. I'm not saying the law, but I want to ask, because I think it's also very important. Names of private companies are mentioned in the Auditor General report if it comes to infractions. When you talk about public officers, some of them don't even know that they are responsible to protect public affairs and relying on the supplier to provide the information. Is it possible that the Auditor General will also consider that if these things come up and you are having 30 days to provide a report which the person can only challenge in court?
So those are live visuals coming to you from the Alisa Hotel here in Accra, where the Auditor General, Mr. Daniel Domelovo, is having a media interaction over some startling discoveries in the 2016 Auditor General's report, where some 5 billion cedi said to be debts which government has to pay. Well, there's no basis at all for that, and apparently those costs have been catered for already. Now, some of these debts owed to contractors and other service providers by officials at the various ministries were said to have been incurred between 2014 and 2017. Now, the Auditor General, Daniel Domelovo, has said no such payment should be made. He's disallowed them. He's recommending prosecution for officials who presided over such payments. In fact, he said that they can head to court, these organizations or these contractors, if they feel that he has gone contrary to what they believe to be true. Now, the discovery and recommendations follow a 2016 audit of the finances of the various ministries, departments and agencies. Now, some of those startling revelations were made from the roads and highways ministries, where, for example, some contractors were said to have filed to be paid twice for one job done. But we know that the minister at the time, Mr. Inusa Hussaini, has come out to say that is not possible. He's actually challenged the report, if you want to put it that way. So we'll be bringing you more from the Alisa Hotel, where Daniel Domelovo is interacting with some media persons who are being allowed to ask any question they want on the 2016 Auditor General's report. We'll take a quick breather now here on JoyNews Desk. Thanks for staying here on JoyNews desk. Let's now take you back to the Elisa Hotel, where the Auditor General, Daniel Demilovu, is responding to some questions by media people on the 2016 Auditor General report.
So it's a long period. The problem, however, is that I don't want us to encourage, like my colleague said, we're depending upon suppliers to give us information. That's the first rule. The financial administration rule, number 1, is that once you are spending public funds, you must keep the record. So that rule is very important. It is not by coincidence that we made it the rule number 1. I remember I was part of the team which was developing the regulation. And we thought the most important thing we needed in the public service was record. Because with that records, we will pay the same bill over and over and over and over. Therefore, that became a requirement. So thank you for your concern, but we have no intention at all to tarnish their reputation. And I think we provided the necessary opportunity to do that. When it comes to the amount rejected from Ministry of Finance, the gap between what they provided and what the ministries provided, yes, it's a cause of worry, because one will be worried about the fact that you provide one figure to Ministry of Finance, then when the auditors come, you give another figure. If it is not trying to be fraudulent. Because when we arrive, the figure we asked for the figure plus supporting documents. When they were going to Ministry of Finance, they were not sending the supporting documents, so they thought they can put in any figure. You read from the report that particular institutions, everything they submitted to Ministry of Finance have all been paid. Not even one cedi was outstanding. Close to 300 million Ghana cedis. Everything had been paid. And you submit that again to Ministry of Finance for payment. But for fraud, I don't know what else the intention can be. So it's a cause of worry that public servants may not be truthful in making requests. For internal audit, yes, we cannot use that as a basis, or this report as a basis of showing who is and who is not in the public service, because the scope is too limited. We may have to look at the entire public financial management. There is something we call PIFA, Public Expenditure and Fiduciary Assessment, which you have to do. It looks at several indicators before saying this one is good and this one is not good. And you see, audit is just one indicator. So the leg is too narrow for us to use to establish strength and weakness. Can the Auditor General say to the Ministry of Finance, separate this by this date? We can advise, we don't implement. The management is responsible for implementing policies. We review the implementation and advise the weaknesses which are in the system, and I can assure you, we have brought this to the attention of Ministry of Finance. I was there to meet the minister himself with my team, and the chairman was with me. And we thought we need to look at internal auditing in the country once more, because it is not the best. In fact, my biggest worry, which I expressed, Chairman, if you remember, was that now Auditor General is becoming the internal auditor of Ministry of Finance. Because internal auditors have lost their independence and cannot say it as it is. Anytime they see any item of expenditure which is huge, they start running to Auditor General. Say, Auditor General, can you verify this for us? I say, no. Use your internal auditors, and I think we have to empower them to do that. Exactly. Yes, so I explained for Frederick, I've already explained why there's a difference between the Ministry of Finance figure and that of the MDAs. Is the public purse protected? It is for you and me to answer that question. I hope you've seen it protected, right? When there's so much leakage. Mind you, we have looked at only liabilities. There are several dangerous spots, like revenue. How much is the state entitled to, and how much is coming into the pot? That's why I said we are very encouraged by the interest shown by the media and Ghanaians in this report. We will look at other areas and report as such. So currently, I cannot say, you can say for yourself, but I cannot say the public purse is safe. until we reduce these things to the barest minimum. Thank you. Oh, you have yours. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Please, we want to take another round of questions.
There's a hand here.
Captain Smart, I'm sure this time round, some of us will have the confidence that our monies will not be chopped by heart anymore. From the way you talk, and since you have the balls to deal with the canker. One quick observation from all the previous Auditor General's report that I have read. Titles are quoted instead of specific names. For example, accountant of midwifery, nursing and midwifery council. Have the powers to prosecute. If we've been able to retrieve. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mr. Okudifo, and I work with I want to find out if you are worried or you are not worried about the composition of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. Where now that NPP is in power, the chairman of the committee is a minority member. And I believe that your next report will be about that government. There have been instances, and I want to cite CP's report, Construction Pioneers, and that of the Wolu, where Honorable Abekandapa was the chairman of the committee then. And at the committee sitting, he became partisan to the extent that they could not even look into CP matter. And the case, you don't know where it is now. And during that time, I don't remember when did the Speaker of Parliament allow the chairman to lay the committee's report. So when Honorable Salas Mensah was the chairman, and then Albert Kandapa also became the chairman, and Honorable Kwekwe Dimameni, all the sittings they had, none of their reports were placed before Parliament for the plenary discussion, so that even if they made some recommendations, those recommendations have been shelved. So I've been wondering whether all this work we've been doing, thinking that you are collaborating with Parliament in dealing with these matters, and at the end of the day, it turned to partisan game in Parliament, and that not. Are you not worried about this trend? Would you call for a review of the composition of the committee? Because I think that sometimes when you sit at home and you watch how they play that ball, that game there, it looks so funny. It looks as if we are just wasting time and throwing our money away. So I would like to know if you are not worried, and if you are worried, what is it that you want to do? Do you want that composition to change? Because I don't see how it is. Thank you.
That's a passionate Lusola. Any other question? So the same people, please. And we have other, well, if none, come forward, please.
Please, in reading through the report, there are a lot of payments that people are requesting for, and you have identified. Is it the Ministry of Finance that accepted projections for payment? or you identify that from documents from the MDAs, if Ministry of Finance accepted them, is it the appropriate thing to do for a Ministry of Finance to accept projections and compile it as debt that should be paid by the state? Thank you very much.
I think you have a right around to ask another question.
We're looking at 2016. We've been in the Fourth Republic since 1993. Are you intending to go further back? Obviously, you should continue going forward. But how far back will you go? Will we see in the future a forensic audit of the audit of previous governments in previous financial years? Or do you begin at 2016 and move forward?
Thank you very much. Please, any more?
Thank you very much. I thought you should be a general instead of a captain. Why did you call yourself captain? Captain Smart. You can be a general like me. Yes. Thank you, Captain Smart. It is true that if you look at most of the audit reports, they try to say chief accountant of, or financial director of, because there was this fear whether you have to go and name the person or just refer to his position and what it is. But that doubt has been cleared in the Occupy Ghana versus Attorney General. The judges made it very clear that it is the person who is responsible. So now we will be bold enough to mention the person. That is Captain Smart we are referring to, not just a presenter of a so-and-so show. So we will mention the name of the culprit. And I think that is very necessary, the mentioning of who exactly we are talking about. Because at times, if you just use the word Auditor General, if you don't take time, you may be holding me accountable for the one who left or the one who left 10 years ago. Maybe it is Prof. during his time. So when they say Auditor General has not done this, and people will be looking at me, those who may not know when he came into office. So I was very happy, and I think I've always told my colleagues that anytime they have time, they should read Occupy Ghana versus Attorney General again and again. I've read it more than 15 times. But anytime I'm in doubt, I go back and read that judgment. And you see the judges provided a lot of clarity. This is the person there. It's not office. It says it's the individual person. So I can't say I'm surcharging the chief accountant of Ghana Education Service. No. I have to mention your name, that you are the one I'm surcharging. So it's a personal something. Do you have prosecutory powers? No. I don't have. As of now, very zero. It's completely zero. Can I have? Yes. That is if a fiat is given by the Attorney General to audit service, just like he has given to the police and others to prosecute. So if the Attorney General gives me a fiat, which I've actually applied for, if I get that fiat, you will see me in action. How much can we retrieve from previous audit reports? The figure is not yet out because every day we see some new things. And the team leader is sitting right by you over there. We have retrieved a lot, and since it's not the subject of this matter, we didn't bring the figure, but I can assure you that good things are happening. Actually, most of the people are paying, and even the only ones who dared to send us to High Court have come pleading out of court settlement. Immediately we filed our reply, they realized the guys, they thought we had no bullets at all. So when we filed our reply, they come out asking for out of court settlement. So in due time, that will be made known. My brother from Adum FM, am I worried about the composition of the park? Yes, I may or I may not be worried, but it is not within my jurisdiction to decide who consists or composes of the Public Accounts Committee. But there is one thing which is surely disturbing, that even if after they have deliberated and come out with their resolutions or their position, It is not tabled in Parliament, and there are no follow-ups to it, which I think we are all worried. Audit Service is going to provide some cure. We are going to provide some cure for that. What cure we are going to provide is, instead of we waiting for the Public Accounts Committee to come and say, go and bring the money that you embezzle, we will disallow and surcharge you. And remember, under the Constitution, once we disallow and surcharge, it's no more a matter for Parliament. It's court. The Constitution says if you are aggrieved by the disallowance and the surcharge, go to court, not Parliament. So we will take the ball to court. What I'm trying to say is that I've told my colleagues as much as possible, the audits which are coming now are coming with disallowances and surcharge. Once you can provide the documentation, once you can justify the expenditure, we will disallow it and surcharge you. And you don't wait for public accounts because it will be too late. Once we surcharge you, you have 60 days according to the law to pay or appeal against us. So if you don't pay and you don't appeal after the 60 days, we have to follow you. That's why we applied for the authority from the Auditor General to prosecute and collect our monies. So I think we will provide a cure for that. I'm not saying by any this and that public accounts is not important. It is. In my personal view, the role Public Accounts Committee should be playing going forward is to address the internal control weaknesses that are bringing about those infractions. For instance, if we say someone has stolen money, it's because the controls are not good enough. At times, there's lack of, forgive me if I'm too professional, what we refer to as segregation of duties. For instance, in financial management, one person should not take the ball from post to post. No. If you collect the money, you give it to somebody to go and bank. And somebody else collects the bank statement and come and update the books and do reconciliation. Different people. Say that if you want to hide, you may have to get all those people to agree with you before you can cheat the system. But where you go into an institution, one person collects the money, he sends it to the bank, come and update the cash book, do bank reconciliation, he can help his economic recovery easily out of that. So in that case, the MDA should be asked to go and address the internal control weakness, which is there. And in some advanced countries, actually, they ask the MDAs to come with action plan on how to address the issues in the Auditor General's report. And I think that is the way we should be thinking of going. It being partisan or not partisan is beyond my scope. I cannot talk to that. And so then the report not being laid in Parliament is a cause for worry, I think, for all of us. It's not for only Auditor General. I think the press, you can also ask Parliament, when are you going to lay these reports? As citizens of Ghana, you are interested in knowing what exactly the Public Accounts Committee agreed on and what is going to Parliament. The projections which were rejected, they were all rejected from the MDA point of view. Remember, finance only asks, what are your indebtedness? Bring it to us. If you are owing anybody, let us know. Then some of the institutions were like, okay, they brought themselves. So they said, this year we are going to spend 20 million. Then they will send it as a debt. They say, we will be spending 20 million. That is what we are owing. So only when we arrive and say, give us the supporting document to show you are owing 20 million. He said, no, that's our projection for the year. We will be doing that in the year, and we need the money. So he said the definition of debt is an expenditure you have incurred and you have not yet paid. Not what you are dreaming. Maybe it may not even be approved. So that cannot be the subject matter of a liability. How far can we go? Nanama, we will go as far back as we can. Hey, how come the Ama came? I know we are day group. I think it's a payback time because he has been spelling my name wrongly. So I think it's time I also call you the wrong name. Yes. So Nanaya, we have the mandate to go as far back as 1993. If you read the Occupy Ghana, this whether we would like to go or we will be able to go is a different thing because it takes a lot of resources. In fact, if we are talking about liabilities, 2014, 2015, 2016, and it's difficult to get records. You can imagine what we'll be talking about if you are going 10 years or you are going 20 years. So that is the problem. But more importantly, we are focusing on going forward. So that's why I told you that now we are making the disallowance and the surcharge part of our audit practice. We won't finish the audit before we come back and say we are coming to disallow or surcharge. In the course of the audit, once you can find the document, we give you the 30 days, provide the information. Then we process you for disallowance and surcharge. Currently, we are organizing training for our staff throughout the country, and that is what we are going forward with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Auditor General. Please, we are about to bring down the curtain on this important conference. We want to find out if there are other more issues to be settled.
Just a follow-up.
Thank you very much.
Just a follow-up to find out from whether, based on the Occupy Ghana ruling, if we're able to mention specific names in this new report you're talking about.
In this report, if you go into it, I think that's what your colleague was worried about. We have mentioned that this one says, or Ministry A says, we are owing Captain Smart. But we have noticed that we've even overpaid Captain Smart by our tabulation. And to be very honest with you, I don't think I should hide this my feeling, but I'll say it. I should think I have to say it. It's a big disappointment and disgrace to my own professional accountants. Some of the people at the forefront of this financial management are professionals. They are not people who don't know what they are doing. So if you have a professional accountant in charge of a ministry or a department who submits a claim which he has paid, again for payment, and the only excuse he gives you is, sorry, I didn't know. It begs the question. And I think as a nation, we may have to take it seriously. I would like to close again by appealing to my colleague public servants and say, no cause for fear. We are not against those who are doing their work diligently. Please continue doing your work. Don't say because of the Auditor General and his team, I'm not going to touch public funds anymore. Please use the public funds for the intended purpose, and you have no problem with us. Keep records, and you are fine. We have no problem with that. Keep doing your work. But if you use it for personal economic recovery, that is where the challenge is. And if you use it and you don't have records to prove it, I'm afraid in financial management, we don't base it on trust. We base everything on what? Evidence. So we need the evidence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Auditor General. Now, Board Chair, Professor Duyajiman, members of the board, the Auditor General and management team present. In my introduction, I omitted two deputies who are also present with us. We have Mr. Benjamin Kujo, who is the Deputy for Performance and Special Audits. Then we have Mr. Johnson Ikwamwa Asedu, or Asedu Ikwamwa, who is Deputy in charge of Commercial Audit. Members of the press, I believe this session has been very fruitful. We are all going to do our
So there was live from the Alisa Hotel, where the Auditor General has been addressing some concerns by media people. Some of the issues he touched on was whether or not he had prosecutorial power, and then he said no, according to what is stated in the books now, he doesn't have that, but he sent a fiat to the Attorney General seeking that, and once that is done, he would have the power to prosecute public officials who are found to be doing what is contrary to law. And just wrapping up, he spoke about the fact that it's quite a shame that some of these financial mismanagement is carried out by professionals in the field. He also assured public servants, especially those within the financial sector, not to be afraid, that is if they're doing the right thing, because for him as an Auditor General, he's going after those who are going against the law. That's a quick wrap here on JoyNews Desk. Before I go, Graphic Business in partnership with Stanbic Bank is holding the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank business meeting at the Labadi Hotel. And the theme is Deposit Insurance, a catalyst for stronger banking industry. JoyNews and Joy Business are media partners for the event, which comes off at the Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra, tomorrow, Tuesday, February 6, 2018. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, will be speaking. So also Romano Champion, banking consultant and head of a Safety Center for Executive Education and Research, Seth Asante, partner Binti Encho Lecha Enakoma, and head of financial institutions and capital markets practice group is another of the speakers. Do make it tomorrow for that program here on JoyNews. That'll be all. Do have a good day.